Good morning, everyone. It is about 7:30, 7:20 on a Wednesday morning. We're at the starting bench from the very first video and we're doing another walk. So I've got about an hour and a half before I need to be sat at my desk ready to work. So that means we're going to use that time to get a nice long walk in. So last time we came down here in that very first morning walk video, we took a right down at the river. We're not going to go that far today. We are going to go just down through the village and then hit a left, wander over to the next village along, walk through that and then back up all the way back to the top of the hill that we normally walk up, and then we'll come back down the hill and it should be a really nice walk. Oh, I better slow down. Don't want to be getting a fine, do I? Now, I haven't done this particular walk in full in years and years and years, maybe 4 or 5 years. I don't know why, I just never hang a left when I come down here. I always go the right hand way. So it'll be really interesting to go down that route, which I haven't done in ages. So I decided to do a little bit of a cinematic going through the village instead of getting my phone out and waffling because, you know, everyone's just starting to wake up, getting ready for their commute. Last thing you want to hear is my voice, you know, disturbing that peace of why people live in such a lovely village. So we've now hung a left. We were only in there for 2 minutes and we're now out in the fields, and what we've got to do basically is follow this bridleway all the way to the next village. So it is lovely down here. You're right in the basin of the valley, so you get a really nice view up the valley, but you also feel really enclosed, and it's lovely. There's a couple people dog walking ahead of me, so I probably will end up catching them up, so clips might be a bit sparse for this section of the walk because, you know, vlogging in front of people is absolutely mortifying. So that is one thing we're going to try and avoid. But yeah, make sure you always shut your gates. That's the big thing. Even though this is a crop field, you know, it's just good etiquette, isn't it? Now, as you probably can imagine, I do about 2 walks a day on average, sometimes 3. And I do about half of those walks with music in, with headphones in, and I do half of those walks with nothing at all. And that's very deliberate, and it's usually my morning walk that I'll do completely free, no headphones whatsoever, because I find it's really good just to get immersed in the bird song, the quiet of the nature, and hear the wind and everything. It's really good for mindfulness. I think it's great, and really lets you be alone with your thoughts. I feel like if you have music or a podcast on or something, it's so easy just to zone out and not really take in where you're walking. Now, I do 2 walks a day, as I've said, and I do a lot of the similar routes. So I do half of the walks with headphones in, half of them without. But like on a walk like today, where, you know, I'm doing a route I haven't done in years, very important in my opinion just to go raw, no headphones. Also, this field is lovely. One second. I don't know if it comes across on camera, but the purple in those wildflowers is popping against the green background. It's beautiful. Anyway, as I was saying, I think it's really important when you're doing walks that you haven't done often, or just walks in general really, to get yourself immersed in the walk with all of your senses. So specifically, you know, hearing, sight, touch, you know, be present in the moment, and it's really quite nice. But let me know in the comments below, do you guys use headphones on your walks? Obviously, when I lived in the city, it was almost a no-brainer to use headphones because you don't want to be hearing those city noises. But when you're out in the country, I've been loving just going completely raw, nothing at all. I've now switched sides of the hedgerow and it's just opened up the rest of the valley completely, and you get a whole different view of the other side. And also, don't you just think that they've got the right idea? I mean, you'd never know that house was there from the road, ever. It's completely blocked by the hedges in the fields. Either side, I mean, the next closest road to that house is up the top of that hill, so I mean, that's just brilliant. I'd love to live there. And you know, I'm still someone who lives with their parents for now. I think it's the only way anyone's ever going to be able to buy houses is if they just bite the bullet and live with their folks for a bit. And I know I'm very lucky that I've got a very nice house to go back to live at, but you know, you're never going to make any progress renting really, so it's a pain, but it's what you got to do. But I'm now actually looking at potential property to buy, and you know, everything around here is so expensive, but even if we come up, like, my dream would be to come up against some cheap project house and do it up myself. And I mean, I've even been looking at little pieces of land as well. There's various pieces of completely wild, untapped, abandoned land, like allotments and things like that, that have got to be going cheap, that I just need to find the right contacts to see if I can pick it up. Because, you know, while I'm young, while I'm in my early 20s, you know, this is the time to get out and live off grid a bit and all of that stuff. But we'll see what the Lord provides. I've not found that opportunity just yet, so we'll keep looking. But as for this walk, I mean, you can see behind me, this is fantastic. And I mean, I hope you can hear the skylarks singing, because there is an absolute chorus going on at the minute. And this is what I mean when you don't wear headphones, you catch things like that. Otherwise, if I've got music or a podcast in, I'd walk right past it, never know that noise was being made. And it's gorgeous. And the last thing I want is for these walking videos to get preachy or repetitive or annoying, that all I'm doing is going, look how beautiful this place is that I can walk in. But, you know, I watch these sort of videos. I love it when people just openly speak their mind and share a bit of their personality online while doing something like this, where it's really calming and beautiful to look at. So, you know, why am I being so hard on myself? Why am I really worrying about everything that goes into these videos? I don't know, because, you know, I'm hypercritical of myself, yet I watch loads of other videos that, you know, people wouldn't put that much effort into thinking about what they want to talk about and stuff. So I'm taking that as a bit of a lesson on this channel specifically, is just to record what I'm doing, just to enjoy it, just to be completely and utterly unadulterated, even if it's, you know, a bit preachy sometimes or whatever. Just keep on and keep on. And, you know, people will watch you if they enjoy your personality and enjoy what you're making. You don't have to hit the YouTube algorithm every video. You know, this channel's already taken off far quicker than I thought it would have done. You know, having, you know, 62 subscribers is not a lot in YouTube terms, but you actually think about 62 people in a room that have chosen to not only watch your content, but subscribe and go, yes, I actually want to see more of this. It's quite a few people, and you've got to keep that perspective in your head. And look, you know, if you are a regular viewer of this channel and you're currently staying quiet in the shadows, go and drop a comment, say hello, let's talk about something in the comments. I love it when people comment and interact. Even on the Strongman channel, I reply to every single comment that gets posted, and on this channel it'll be even more, because, you know, it's a much smaller knit community, and it's one of my absolute favorite things to see what people have to say, give me suggestions, you know, share tips and tricks for their garden, that sort of thing. I love it. And I know if you're watching this on a big telly, it's a pain in the arse to go and comment, but if you're on a mobile or a PC, drop a comment, say hello, like the video, and, you know, most importantly, share this around to your friends. Let's get as many like-minded people here as we can and build what is going to be a really nice community, hopefully, because I've got lots of plans for this channel, lots and lots, and a lot of them are very time-based and take a long time. But in the meantime, walking videos, I walk every day. There'll be no shortage of these. You know, I'm home brewing all the time, I'm making all the time, I've got the garden going on. You know, this channel's going to be pretty busy. It seems I'm not the only one that doesn't often take a left from that village, because this grass is about knee high. It is really, really overgrown down here. You can still find the path just about, but yeah, it's crazy overgrown. But, you know, that's how I like it. Overgrown, out of the way, paths that most people don't go, because, you know, I could quite easily do, you know, the normal circular that most people do and probably see about 5-10 different dog walkers on my walks, but, you know, hang a left where you don't normally hang a left, and suddenly you find a path that you once trod 5-10 years ago, had forgotten existed, and you're back, and it seems like the rest of the world has forgotten this one as well. So, I mean, who would forget that? Like, it's not crazy views, don't get me wrong, but something about seeing a lovely massive field of barley, I think it is, might be Skyfall week, but absolutely, you know, taking over the horizon. It's fantastic, I love it. And that's actually like a video concept I had an idea for, which I'm definitely going to do at some point. I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments about this one, but, you know, doing a walk where every direction I go has to alternate. So if I find a right turn, I take it, but my next turn has to be a left-hand turn, and so on, alternate the whole way, and just see where I end up. Like, I think that would be really cool, and it might take me down some paths that I didn't really, you know about, but it also might send me down, you know, a main road or off into a path that goes nowhere. I think that could be really cool and a good idea. So let me know what you think of that idea. I'm definitely going to do that at some point when I've got, you know, a day to kill, but I thought it was a good concept. Wow, it looks like this footpath's really overgrown, because I'm supposed to be over by that house and I'm not, and this is what I've got to go through. You could just about see a little path through there, so let's get down there, let's see if we can get there, and then we'll be in the next village. And here we are, the next village, and now we've got to walk the entire length of this village and out the other end, back basically to the main road, and then we find our next footpath, which doesn't look like a footpath, and it looks very private, but it is indeed a footpath actually. So you can follow that all the way back up the hill, the whole way to the road that is the culprit of the bubbling melty road Instagram reel that got me 40k views and a load of comments. So yeah, but once again, this village, everyone's waking up, the world's starting to rise, so I'm going to keep my voice down and not film too much through here. I found this track marked with a footpath sign that seems to go in the right direction without having to walk through the whole village, so we're just going to take it. I've never been down here before, but we're going to give it a go. Yes, this is the sort of footpath I like. Just into a hedge, completely overgrown, and it suddenly opens up into a walkable path. This was a little gem of a find. And this path looks like it completely cuts the corner of the village, and as much as I love walking through the village, you know, this path is fantastic, and I've never known it's here. I very rarely check maps for footpaths and things. I prefer to find them on my own organically, like I've just done. And this was well worth it. Like, you know, the village was waking up, it was getting a bit busy, cars were coming in and out, but this footpath in a hedge, never know it was here, and now I'm going through it. But we've got a conundrum. Okay, maybe we don't have a conundrum. I thought there was a fork there where it either went right or left, but looking up the left-hand path, it didn't actually go anywhere. It just went to a gate on someone's field. So, you know, right hand it is, but again, we've completely cut off the entire corner of the village, and just like that, we're back out in a field. So I think, in theory, this path should connect back up to the road, and now we've got far less of the road to go back up to the main one. Hang on a moment, there is another path branching off this one. So just before it joins the road, we're down the side of this allotment, and this one's on the road. There is a path that goes up the back of the allotment here. God, they're impressive courgettes. Anyway, there's a path that goes off the back of the allotment here into a field, and definitely a trodden footpath that runs parallel to the road up to the main road where I want to go. And normally I'd think this is some sort of farm track or something, but I see another dog walker on it further up, so it must be a public footpath. There's no signage or anything for it, but you know, a lot of the time with these forgotten public footpaths, landowners forget to put the signage up, and it's rare that the council actually do anything about it. So people, unless you've got a map that says it's a footpath, people don't think it's a footpath and they avoid it, and thus you don't get people crossing your land, which is slimy. And I think if you've got a public footpath, it's your duty to protect that public footpath. But anyway, I digress. We are now following the road into the village parallel up to the main road in a lovely field, and we haven't had to see a road at all yet. Between those two trees just there is our road where we want to go and follow what looks like a private track but is actually a public right of way. And it means that this whole road down the side here we've not had to go up. I thought I'd have to walk the whole road, and we don't have to walk any of the main road, literally just cross it over. So there we are then, down the road that has big ornate signs at the front of it saying that it's a farm and all that. No footpath signage whatsoever, and that is because technically I'm on a public road right now which turns into a bridleway, and you only need to put the signage up at the bridleway bit. So again, people assume that there's nothing up here, and there you don't get walkers coming up here, except for me, of course, who, you know, I only take heed to the public footpath sides 90% of the time. I mean, in my opinion, it should be right to roam as long as you leave no trace, like it is up in Scotland. But you know, England, so much more privately owned, and everyone's so much more up themselves a bit, to be honest. But you know, I can see why. You know, I know many people who own farms and things like that who have such trouble with people, you know, people setting fire to hay bales, you know, obviously people setting up caravans and things, and I can see why so many people are against it. But you know, for the average walker like myself, it would make life so much easier. But let's be honest, there's certainly no shortage of public footpath in the UK. I mean, you just have to take one look at footpath map and you realise just how many paths there are. And as I said, most people don't even know they're there. You know, most people, unless they see a nice paved or gravel path, they think, nah, just an animal track, you know what I mean? But there's actually so much area you can walk that people just forget about. But yeah, this road in itself is actually about as long as the whole section we've just done. So as it is just a road with hedges on either side and not much to see, I'm gonna phone in pocket, zone out, practice some mindfulness, do some deep thinking, get ready for the day ahead. And if anything interesting crops up, I'll catch you back, but otherwise it'll be at the end of this road. See, only now that we're a 20-minute walk down this road do we see that we actually can use this as a bridleway. And look, it's probably not done maliciously or anything. Like, that is a public road, but it doesn't lead to anywhere but a farm. So people are going to see the big, you know, big sign at the front saying it's the farm, and they're not going to come up here out of fear for being chased off by dogs or whatever. But from what I've met, it's like farmers around here are pretty reasonable and pretty decent. And I know there's a bridleway up here because I've done it from the other end where it is very clear that it's a bridleway. But if you come from this end, you'd never know, never. And as I said, it's probably not deliberate, well within their right to do so, but I always find it funny the amount of things people must miss, myself included, because something looks so private and also overgrown or abandoned that you don't know you can go down there. And it's not until you try that you find all these fantastic walks. I mean, I've not heard or seen anyone for the last half an hour. I've been completely surrounded by fields and quiet and birds, and it's been lovely. We are back on the bridleway in the lovely grass fields, and I've managed to figure out exactly why they haven't obviously signposted the bridleway. And essentially there are some very posh new looking barns that look like offices that had, you know, a company name on the doors and stuff. And I know that they probably don't want people coming up and down all day long. So if they can get away with, you know, signposting where they legally need to, then I'm sure they're not going to advertise the fact you can walk up here, which is fair enough. You know, people want to conduct their business in private, I understand that. It's public right away. They have signposted it for the most part. I mean, I'm down here, there were lots of people about, and not one of them, you know, said anything to me, you know, as they shouldn't. So that would be why. It's been a long time since I've been down here, a long time. Those barns weren't there last time I was down here. Last time I was down here, it was just a farm about, you know, it got to be 8 years ago now or something like that. So yeah, I'm not surprised, but that'd be the reason. But I mean, imagine having your place of work back onto a footpath like this. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. You know, I'd never get any work done. I'd just be taking, you know, lunch breaks. And at work at the minute, I'm stuck on a business park that's just, you know, office block after office block after office block. And the most interesting thing they have is a Tesco superstore. So, you know, it's all right for a walk round, but nothing like it is around here, which is why I'm very lucky that I get to work from home most of the time. And that's what you got to remember, right? It's like, people love to live to work, and I don't understand that at all. Like, their job is their one thing, they put their all into it, and if you love your job that much, fair play. But for me, you know, unless this YouTube channel starts paying me a few grand a month, which is never going to happen, it might, you never know, but unless that happens, and I'm stuck working, you know, a desk job, which wouldn't be my preference, but, you know, I'm good at it and I do well at it. As long as that's still the case, I am working to live. So I work from home. I make use of my flexible contract, which is great. It allows me to get outside while the sun's shining, especially during the winter, and work in the evenings and things like that. It is fantastic. Wouldn't trade it for the world. And I'm very fortunate in that case, because I know a lot of people don't have that luxury at work. But if you do have the luxury of choice, utilize it, make it worthwhile, get outside, especially while you're young. You know, you're not getting any younger, so get out and enjoy it. Obviously within reason. I don't want to encourage anyone to quit their job and, you know, forfeit that money that is going to be, you know, fantastic for providing for your future and providing for your future family, because that is my, like, biggest driver, is that I need to earn as much as I can right now so that life is easier in 5, 10, 20 years. But you can still do that while getting outside, while enjoying it. It's about prioritization. I've said it a million times. People will sooner lie in bed for an hour in the morning on their phone, scrolling Instagram Reels or TikTok, instead of just getting up and getting outside for half hour, 20 minutes before they've got to go to work and enjoying the fresh air. It's so easy to fit in. It's so easy. It doesn't have to be, you know, a fancy walk in the countryside like this. It could be walking around your local estate, something like that. Get out, get your steps in, get fit. And look, these last few months I've put such a massive emphasis on my fitness. It's been unreal. You know, the last 5 years I've chased strength to get there, and I've always done it in a fairly healthy way. I've never been what I consider really unhealthy, but these last few months I'm like, strength isn't everything. I want to be able to run, I want to be able to be fit, I want to be able to be healthy, and, you know, strength is still my primary driver. I love being strong, it's really fun, but being functional, being able to move is huge as well. So strongman training is great for that as it is, but I've been sprinkling in some running, some assault bike, you know, got my fitness way up. And, you know, Sunday I did a run, longest run I've done since 2021, 3.6-ish K, and I did it at a quicker pace that I did in 2021. And in 2021 I weighed 85 kilo. I right now weigh 119, 120. So not using my size as an excuse anymore. And, you know, I've dropped 6 or 7 kilo of body weight, loads of fat, no muscle. My strength hasn't gone down a bit, and I feel fantastic. But anyway, I'm off the bridleway now, back on the road, the infamous bubbly tarmac road. I slightly overestimated my ability today. Said I had an hour and a half. We've been going an hour and a half. So we've got a little bit longer to go yet. But the view from up here is insane. I mean, just have a look. That is what we've just walked on. How gorgeous is that? I don't know if you could see the kites there. The red kites, big birds of prey. There's 3 of them just circling. There you go, there's a better view at one. Look at that. Buzzard as well. Got all the birds today. And going back to our point about not using music on at least one walk a day, in my opinion, is I would never have noticed those birds, but I heard them crying, and I heard like the eagle-like bird of prey noise, and I looked up and there were 3 or 4 of them. So many people would be music in, possibly glued to a phone or looking down, seeing where they're going. You'd never notice it. So yeah, this video is probably going to be titled something like, you should not use music while walking. And you should. I do as well, but I don't do it every walk, and I certainly don't do it on the big long walks that I like to do out in the country. If I'm just walking to Tesco at work and getting my steps in for half an hour, music's fine. But if you're going out with the intention of seeing the countryside, enjoying it, being present in the moment, then go without music, go without podcast. I mean, go without your phone if you want to. Obviously that's probably not the safest thing to do in case you fall and injure yourself or something, but just be present in the moment. Anyway, it is now 9 AM, which is obviously when I should be starting work, and we're still a good 25 minutes back to where we started. So it looks like I'll be getting into work a little bit late today, but luckily, as I said, flexible contract, work from home. It just means I got to stay on an extra half hour to an hour later tonight, which is fine. I'll probably do most of my work in the evening tonight anyway, and I've got no meetings today, just software development to do, so I can just knuckle down and get that done whenever, which is glorious again. So lucky. I mean, I did apply for every job under the sun to do with software. I didn't apply for a remote work at all, and it's just lucky that I got one, because I know so many people apply specifically for remote work and haven't got a hope in hell at getting one, because after COVID and people got a taste from working from home, so many people want it. As we approach the back gate of the woods where we normally walk every single day, it has been one hell of a walk, hasn't it? Just under 2 hours so far, so just over 2 hours by the time we get back. More than 10,000 steps, all done before 9:30 in the morning. What a great way to start the day, and we've enjoyed it, seen lots of lovely fields, lots of wildlife, and most importantly, just enjoyed it. That's the main thing. And this video is must be about 25 minutes, half hour, something like that. So you've only seen a quarter of what this walk's had to offer. And yeah, I'd highly recommend getting out to the countryside and having a walk. But you've seen this woodland a million times, you'll see it a million times more. So this is where I'm going to leave the video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, you comment, and you most importantly subscribe to the channel. I know it's a bit of a pain if you're watching on a telly, but please make sure you do. It really does help. But yeah, this has been my morning walk. I got to get back to work. I will see you in the next one.